Now it's working. Okay, so I will start with a brief update or a brief recap of the Voc4cat, and then I introduce Nomad and show the link between, so you can move to the next. Yeah, so I just took from the notes basically of the last workshop a summary, and basically David Linke introduced that in the realm of catalysis research there is really a lack of existing ontologies which cover the whole area. And additionally, there is a lack of semantic engineers in the NFDI4cat consortium. And this led to the pragmatic decision to develop a thesaurus for catalysis related vocabulary, which is a bit of an easier step into this ontology world. If you click once, there should be an animation. So here you see the whole semantic spectrum of knowledge organization systems, and the Voc4cat is currently placed somewhere in the middle. Is a thesaurus, but there's actually an open issue currently on the GitHub repository, which aims to kind of elevate this to the taxonomy level to replace these very broad, narrow, broader relationships with more formal is a relationship. But this is, I think, work in progress. If you go to the next slide, within NFDI4cat, a very nice GitHub-based contribution workflow was established, which gives an easy access for the domain experts to contribute concepts and definitions. So yeah, if you click one, there will be a picture which shows this GitHub workflow, and basically the researcher just has to upload an Excel sheet, and this is with an automated workflow after creating a pull request, translated into this scores. And yeah, GitHub, of course, comes with all these nice features of tracking, automated tracking of contributions, and it offers a forum for discussions. The persistent identifiers for the concepts, so the vocabulary in Voc4cat, are provided by Voc4cat.org. Currently, Voc4cat is still so it's not static since the last report here during the last workshop. It has been developed further. It has grown in size a bit, I think more than 50% more. Terms are now included, and I think about 7 contributors are listed in the GitHub repository. Yeah, so that next I will introduce you Fermat for those that are outside of the NFDI maybe. So Fermat is this NFDI consortium which builds a fair federated data infrastructure for solid state physics and material science. And there are different areas within the consortium which look at different aspects of material science, so ranging from synthesis, characterization to modeling. There's the probably largest part, most people work in the digital infrastructure, which I will talk on the next slide, but just I am based in one of the use cases, which is heterogeneous catalysis, and this gives us also the link to the NFDI4cat. Yeah, if you move to the next slide, I introduce Nomad. So Nomad is this tool that is developed. It was already existing before the whole NFDI initiative started, but then it was a web-based software for computational research data in material science. And within the NFDI framework now, it's extended to also include experimental data from synthesis and characterization. And basically, it is an online repository where you can upload data, publish data, and other people can explore the research data that's there and analyze it also in this framework of Nomad with the so-called North tools, which are basically a Jupyter hub where you can run a Jupyter notebook directly on the data that is within the repository. If you move to the next slide, there is within the NFDI runtime, it was basically identified that for experimental data, we need more than a repository that's hosting the data at the end. We do need structured data from the generation of the data already. So this is where the Nomad Oasis comes in, which is basically the same software as the central Nomad, but it can run on a local server and serve as an ELN for experimental scientists, but also computational scientists can use this locally as a first instance to manage their data and then decide which of the data they make public. If you go to the next slide, yeah. So here comes now in my work, we plan to enable or to make it possible within Nomad to share catalysis related data, especially heterogeneous catalysis data. And so I'm trying to make this possible so that we can use the fine capabilities of Nomad with respect to searching through the data and data visualization and analysis. So what we need for this are specific schemas, which on the next slide, you'll see two examples for catalyst sample schema and also a catalytic reaction, which are quite general schemas. And you see that there are lots of terms there which we want to have a definition for so that they can universally be understood by other experts in the field. And this is where Voc4cat comes in. So in the next slide, you see that in Nomad, we define these schemas with Python classes, and there we can add these links, which now link to definitions from Voc4cat. So here you see the example of a reactant, which has a quantity called conversion, and then I have the respective definitions, so the links added. And on the next slide, you see how this looks in the Nomad meta info, which you can also browse online. Unfortunately, this example will not work now. I have to change the link because this points to a local version now, but I will post this later. Then on the, so basically I've added a lot of new concepts also to this Voc4cat to try to have a complete mapping for all the quantities. On the next slide, this is the last one. If you could click the link, maybe it should work. It should lead you to a web site of a Nomad Oasis, which is actually in production at the HZB. It should open the meta info browser directly. No.
Seems to require a login, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that could be. It is a general login of the central Nomad as well, but okay, yeah, never mind. So there, if you do log in, I can share the link also in the notes maybe. Then
is that it? No.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Yeah, so there are lots of definitions from a colleague of mine, Michael Goethe from the HZB, and he has implemented a lot of electro catalysis related classes and quantities and added a lot of definitions also to Voc4cat. And then you can see that, for example, I thought the voltage. Okay, I thought there was, oh yeah, there is a link. Yeah, on the top, you see that there is this link, and this links then to the definition in Voc4cat. Yeah. So, and yeah, he has added a lot, and yeah, related to the earlier talk we heard, it would be interesting to see how much of this can be reused, or you would agree with the definitions, because yeah, that's always something that would be good to know if these definitions are general enough to really be used by other people as well. Yeah, with that, I thank you for your attention.